Buenas tardes a todos, bienvenidos. Para una mejor experiencia, les solicitamos por favor que mantengan sus micrófonos muteados. Todo el material que presentamos puede ser utilizado para difusión y promoción. Muchas gracias y que disfruten del evento.
Penthouse es la revista más exitosa en la historia de la industria editorial.
Bob Guccione murió sin un centavo. ¿Qué diablo sucedió?
El oscuro príncipe del sexo.
Quería que hiciéramos orgías.
Solía medicar a las chicas con píldoras anticonceptivas.
Él tenía 50, nosotras éramos adolescentes.
18, 19 años.
Todo ese dinero desapareció.
Penthouse era el bebé de mi padre, nosotros no.
Muy buenas tardes. Hoy estamos en el año 2024 y arrancamos con otro gran evento, Secretos de Penthouse. Esta increíble y exitosa franquicia de A&E hoy día presenta las revelaciones del gran magnate Bob Guccione y cómo fue el despegue y la caída de alguien que se hizo famoso compitiendo contra Playboy. Él siempre dijo, vamos detrás de los conejos, y ahora vamos a conocer la verdadera historia y los secretos de Penthouse. Con ustedes, recuerden que todo el material que usamos hoy es para su difusión promocional y publicitaria de nuestros especiales. Y para eso estamos felices que hoy nos acompañen. Así que vamos a ver un video antes de presentarles a Nick Guccione, el hijo menor del gran magnate Bob Guccione.
Penthouse es la revista más exitosa en la historia de la industria editorial.
Contamos con los mejores redactores, periodistas, fotógrafos, lo mejor de lo mejor. Podría decirse que es la revista más lujosa en su estilo.
Penthouse se ha convertido en una organización multinacional.
Bob Guccione.
Bob Guccione.
El señor Robert Guccione.
Es sin duda alguna la revista que más se vende en este país.
Éxito, dinero y poder.
Dime, ¿eres feliz?
Lo soy.
¿Qué te queda por hacer en tu vida?
Solo existe un Bob Guccione. Él crea la revista más obscena del país y se vuelve uno de los hombres más ricos del mundo.
Según la sucursal australiana, su patrimonio es de $300 millones.
Sí, tal vez un poco más.
Te consideran un héroe nacional, pionero de los derechos de la primera enmienda, pero otros te ven como un maníaco obsesionado con el sexo.
Me tomo en serio mi trabajo y no hago nada que no me gustaría hacer. No haría nada que me avergonzara. No fotografío a una chica que no me excite. Inclina la cabeza a la derecha.
Él hacía que las mujeres se sintieran bellas.
Era un sujeto increíble. Él era sexy.
Es un negocio vulgar, nudista y lascivo.
Bob tenía grandes ambiciones para el apellido Guccione. Quería que sus hijos crearan una dinastía.
Papá alcanzó la fama y la gloria, pero siempre hubo una ola de escándalos. Dicen que uno elige a sus amigos, no a su familia.
Nuestra familia giraba en torno al sexo. Era algo repulsivo.
Mi padre le pedía a mi madre que se fuera de casa. ¿Te imaginas ese descaro? Bien, así que mamá se iba. No sé a dónde. Y él invitaba a una desconocida a su apartamento para fotografiarla.
Yo miraba por el agujero de la cerradura y él estaba sentado en el suelo con una chica totalmente desnuda. Y pensaba, es muy extraño. Y decía, ¿qué están haciendo? Por un lado, me decían que no tenía permitido tener sexo. Solo papá iba a tener sexo en casa, al parecer. Nadie más podía hacerlo.
Si quieres excitar a tus lectores, tú también debes excitarte.
Glamour, misterio, vello púbico.
Me estaba esperando en la habitación y me dijo que necesitaba ver mi cuerpo.
Estaba perturbado.
Bob Guccione está en juicio.
Bob fue el rey durante un tiempo, pero arruinó todo.
Todo ese dinero se esfumó.
Él lo perdió todo.
¿Te quita el sueño pensar que todo desaparezca?
And now is the moment to introduce you to Nick Guccione. Nick,
hello.
welcome.
Hola.
In Latin America, wants to know everything from you.
I appreciate you having me on the show. Yeah, it's been a crazy road, a long, crazy road, you know.
I
But
can only imagine,
it
and
was.
that's why my first question has to be: you were 15 years old when you were growing up, and you lost your virginity, becoming a hero for some people, to a pet from Penthouse. How was to live in the mansion of Penthouse, losing your virginity with a pet, and be the boyfriend of at least three or four of them? How was being Nick Guccione at that time?
Well, it was very exciting for me, Cesar. It was very unusual and exciting. So, you know, what can I say? I mean, I used the phrase growing a kid growing up in a candy store, you know, and but unfortunately, the owner of the candy store said, "Don't eat the candy." Okay.
But you did.
So that was difficult, you know.
But you did eat the candy. And how was it?
I did.
What was the
I
life?
did. So that was exciting and unusual, but I grew to appreciate women's beauty and what my dad was doing in the sexual revolution of the 70s and the late 60s. You know, I was only 10 years old when I saw the sexual revolution take place. So it was very educational, if nothing else. And I was very proud of my father. I think he's got a bad reputation as some kind of, you know, cheap or shallow pornographer, but he's so much more than that.
Who was Bob Guccione? And who was Bob as a father to you?
Well, he was, you know, obviously my father, who I loved, but he was very distracted by the company and the different things that were going on with the magazine and you know, controversy. So it was difficult to grow up in that environment because I was under a lot of scrutiny, and it made life difficult in that way because, you know, we were always judged by our peers and by the law. When I saw nothing wrong with it, I just saw my father photographing beautiful naked women. You know, what's wrong with that? You know, hey,
And
they
going
want to
to
be.
that, what it meant Hugh Hefner and Playboy to your father? What did it represent? Just competition? Because
Was
your father created Penthouse to compete with Playboy and was very successful at it. And actually went beyond that because your father even produced a very famous and controversial movie called Caligula with Helen Mirren. Yes, now the Oscar actress.
yes,
So tell us what it meant to to live with Penthouse competing with Playboy, and what it meant the movie Caligula for you as a minor at that time.
right. Well, the competition with Playboy was an ongoing battle, if you will. I think Playboy, to this day, who I don't think are publishing any more issues, as Penthouse is not really publishing issues, magazines. It's all online now. But we made a great step forward with, you know, showing more of the woman and appreciating the woman more as a natural beauty as opposed to an airbrushed, blonde, blue-eyed girl with big breasts. You know, we went more to the real aspect of women. And Caligula, when I grew up, again, I think I was 14 or 15 years old when it came out, was shocking, but I liked the movie because it was historical about an insane character named, Gaius Caligula. So in one way, it was eye-opening, and in the other way, it was a little too hard for my taste,
Of course. And what it was to witness the rise and the fall of the empire of Penthouse.
What was the rise and the fall, you say?
Yeah, you were a witness of the rise and the fall of Penthouse, from a millionaire and the fortune and the fame, and then it becomes everything changing. How do you feel about that? What do you remember about that?
Yeah, I remember that when the internet came out, it was a new challenge for my father and for the company to get on board with the new technology. And unfortunately, my father was still in the 60s and 70s in his mind, I think. And I understand that, but I can go on about that, how things have changed culturally. It's gotten worse and worse with the internet and Instagram and Facebook and all this crap, So I think that Dad did a good job, and Penthouse did a good job in the sexual revolution. Again, I was 10 years old when this happened, that we brought nudity and sexuality and sensuality to the forefront of mainstream. That was very well accepted by the public, but the rise was getting there in the sexual revolution by not being afraid to show pubic.
Nick, sorry about that. Was a technical problem. We were not expecting that. So you were saying that the internet was the thing that changed everything. And not only internet, now with OnlyFans, the pets and the playmates can make tons of money without having the platform of a printed magazine. Life have changed. Now we are going to introduce you to one of your girlfriends, but one of the most famous pets of Penthouse. He was one of the pets from 1981, and she was the pet of the year 1983. She has been studying. She was a model. She was an actress. She has been in so many roles, and now we have the pleasure to be with the one and only Sheila Kennedy. Please run video first.
And don't forget Big Brother. She was on Big Brother.
9, and she was a hostess for the 10. Correct.
Me dijeron, Bob te va a recibir ahora. Le dije, quiero que me fotografíes. Eres un genio.
Sí.
Y respondió, hagámoslo. Bob me dijo, mira lo joven que te ves aquí. Esto nos hará ganar dinero. Y esa portada generó millones de dólares.
Yo, Sheila, where are you? Come on, honey bunny. Get over there.
Nick, we are waiting for Sheila. Meanwhile, we are waiting for Sheila. We would like to know, how was your relationship with Sheila?
It was interesting. Interessant, as we say in Italian, or in Dutch. I don't know. I forget my languages, but it was great. She was a wonderful lady, and I fell in love with her when I was like 17 years old.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And excuse me?
Okay, Sheila's back. So let's...
I don't know why I got
Let's
totally
stop Sheila.
disconnected.
Don't worry, Sheila. We're glad that you're here with us.
Hi, Nikki.
Can
Hey,
we
Sheila.
have this screen? Yes. Hey, Sheila, how are you?
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear okay. Nick was telling us that when he was 17, he was your boyfriend.
The terrible connection.
Can you hear us? We can hear you.
I think Sheila is having difficulty with her Wi-Fi. She told me yesterday that she was having some issues with her Wi-Fi or her cellular. I don't know. Anyway.
Yeah, it's possibly me, but
can you hear us, Sheila?
Me?
Yes.
Yeah, we hear you. So,
Sheila, can you hear us?
Yes, I can now. You were breaking up before.
Okay.
Are you on Wi-Fi, Sheila, or cellular?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I'm at Starbucks right now. There's where I live, there's like the Wi-Fi internet is horrible.
Okay, we cannot hear you. What we would like to know, Sheila, is who was Bob Guccione for you?
Well, Bob Guccione was everything to me. I was very young. I was 18 going on 19. I had an interesting life beforehand, but it became more interesting once I met with him now. For Playboy and Penthouse. Cosmopolitan art fashion photographer in the 80s. And he basically said to me, "You're anything that I thought you were going to be. You're too short, you're overweight, your skin." And I said, "Well, I'm a teenager." Listen. So I never knew what was going on out of the model. I thought, you know, it's going to be a model back then. And I was going to Barbie. He said, "Tippet, get a ticket here. I will test you." And then that just didn't happen. And what ended up happening, I was like, well, I can't go back to Las Vegas where I was living with my aunt and my grandmother. And they said, well, you have to. And I said, well, no. I said, you said you were going to photograph me and make me a model. And he was like, okay, I'm going to give you 2 weeks to lose some weight and clear up your skin and let your hair grow out, because it's really short, like Demi Moore's and Ghost. And basically, they that I had. These were my Polaroids in clothes, in a whole piece and a contract.
So
well, she's breaking up.
Yes, she's breaking up. Yes.
Crap, I don't think the end, but
Sheila, we cannot hear you well.
Okay.
The connection is not that good. What's better before you get into your car?
What's that?
The connection was better before you got into your car. But
I'm still in my car.
Okay,
yeah.
let's try to, now it's good. Now it's good. Now I can hear you. So
okay.
You also mentioned that Bob asked you once to be part of a threesome with Kathy, and that's the moment that you regret. Why?
Well, I would have to say that I had a huge crush on Bob, and he's my life financially. And he gave me the opportunity to do other things, which was acting and modeling in New York. And I had my own group of friends, but we weren't allowed to, as Nikki could tell you, or Nick, we weren't allowed to bring people into the house. It was very well known that you had to sign in and sign out when you lived in the mansion, including
And you were living
so
also
it
at the
was like,
mansion at that time?
yes, years on, I was living- working for-
Okay.
That's a documentary. That the whole thing about Kathy Keaton, I felt that she was the one that pressured her to do this. This
How, so at the time that you were living at the penthouse mansion, was also same time that other pets were living with you?
There were
Excuse me?
3 pets at the house, yeah. And I was in love with 2 of them. Sheila was one of them. And the other girl was named Corinne Alphin, also a pet of the year. I was crazy about both girls. I was only 17, 18 years old, dying, you know.
Now what we're going to do is we are going to open the room for questions for the Q&A to see if our journalists from Argentina, Brazil, Chile, Mexico, and Colombia have questions for you or Nikki or for Sheila.
Perfecto. Perfecto.
Gracias.
Yes, we're going to start with Adriana Rincón from Colombia, NTN 24.
Thank you very much, Nick. Did you hear me?
Hola, sí.
Hi.
Gracias.
Your father market the pornographic industry that is current today. How you see the industry in the future? Did you hear me? Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
Yeah.
Your father, I will repeat the question. Your father market the pornographic industry that is current today. How you see the industry in the future?
What she's saying is that she would like to know, as you know, the one who established and create the pornography industry as we know it was your father. She would like to know, what do you think is going to be the pornography industry moving forward? What is different?
Yes.
What is changing?
Thanks. I understand. Thank you. And thank you, Miss, for calling. I believe that, first of all, I want to say that my father's magazine was not pornographic at all until the very end, when he went crazy and we showed pornographic material. But for many years, decades, we only showed beautiful women nude, and there's nothing wrong with that. I think then Penthouse and other companies went heavily into pornography, which I think is not a true example of sensuality and sex, because it makes it cheap, cheap, if you will, and it does make women more objectified, and we didn't want that. I never wanted that. So I think we didn't do pornography, but where the future is, I believe it's in getting away from what we're doing now with Pornhub and these sites that are showing, hardcore pornography. And I think we should go back to the beauty of the naked female or male, depending on what you like. You know, the males are beautiful too. Not for me, but I mean, you know, hey, it's nudity is a beautiful thing. So I think that's where we're going. I think that's the future.
Thank you, Nick.
Basic.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
La
Yes,
siguiente
we can-
pregunta, por favor, the next question.
Yes, from Anaí Martino from Folha de São Paulo, Brasil.
Hola.
Folia.
Anaí, please unmute your mic.
Hello.
Yes.
Do you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
I'm Anaí from Folha, Brazil. Nick, so in the last question, you said you think it should be back like a Penthouse job type, like showing nudity bodies. Do you have any project of yours to bring the magazine back or something?
Nick, you're mute. Nick, you're mute.
Excuse me?
Now you're okay. Yes, answer.
Now, yes, we have a new website I'm doing called Femme Diva, which is very classy. I'll spell it for you. Please check it out. Femme Diva, F as in Frank, E-M as in Mary, Diva, like it sounds, DIVA.com, FemmeDiva.com. It's a beautiful collection of wonderful women. It's all about artificial intelligence, which is the new future of technology, of course, and technical advances, and just gorgeous women, and articles and interviews with the latest and greatest technological minds out there. Femme Diva, FemDiva.com. Check it out.
Thank you very much.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much.
Now I would like to see if Sheila connection is better. Sheila, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Sheila, are you there?
Yeah.
I would like
Yeah,
you to feel the... Yes, now I can hear you, and I want to take advantage of that moment. We would like to know, how was your life as a pet from the Penthouse magazine, living in the mansion, and also having a career as a model and as an actress?
It absolutely changed my life, you know, meeting Bob Guccione and becoming a Penthouse pet and being on 4 covers and being pet of the year and and it was amazing. I had an incredible ride, and I'm still, you know, in a great place. I ended up doing a reality show, Big Brother, that I was on. It was 15 years ago, but you know, I'm still doing other things in the industry that are fabulous. I would say that Bob Guccione and Penthouse magazine changed my life for the better.
Mm-hmm.
I came from poverty, so it was a culture shock to go to the mansion in Manhattan and to be in that environment. And for me, it felt natural. Everything felt natural, and Bob was amazing.
And now that you are a mother, would you do something different, or you are okay with the way things went through you and for you?
I mean, my son is that way. There's nudity. No, there never was. He knew what I did. knew, and they loved coming out, you know, and doing sleepovers and stuff like that. But it was never, people would say to me, they would never know that I did that for a living because I never wore things around the house that were see-through or sexy clothing. I was very conservative in that sense. I mean, I was always modest. I know that's hard. What's that?
So what's a role? So being a pet was a role for you as an actress. Was it more of a performance? Was it like a role for you?
Absolutely. Oh, absolutely. It, like I said, it put another level of life, and I excelled after all of it. I didn't fall into, you know, heavy drugs or drinking, or I did party back in the 80s because that's what a lot of people did at Studio 54 and Xenons. I mean, we were in the height of an iconic time, you know, the 80s. It was just like amazing. And so I felt like I took advantage of all of that. I took it.
So you were savvy and smart about it.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Being poor, my house, that it helped me navigate the ups and downs in my life. But I can tell you this: after Penthouse, I felt like that's what brought me to another level. I got other jobs because people knew they knew about Penthouse, they saw my covers, and they were all really classy because Bob was the only one that photoed me. And he did an amazing job. And I always said that he was an artist, and he was absolutely one of those people that when you see his photos, you know, immediately it's classy.
Absolutely. Nick, we have a question for you. This question comes from Sebastian Savani from Argentina. He remembers the following. Bob Guccione gave Anna Wintour, yes, the one and only Anna Wintour, her first job as a fashion editor at Viva magazine. Do you remember how was Anna as a young journalist?
No, what was her name again? I'm sorry.
Anna Wintour. Anna Wintour is right now, the movie Devils Wear Prada was inspired on her, and she's the one and only editor of Vogue magazine around the world. Sheila, do you remember anything about it?
I know who she is. I think that, yeah, go ahead, Nick. No, go ahead, Nick.
No, but you go. I was going to say my father did hire a lot of ladies who became very successful in the publishing empires and publishing period. So yeah, it was a good starting point for them. Go ahead, Sheila.
Yeah, no, she's an icon. She was, she started out with Penthouse. I didn't actually meet her because I want to say, Nikki, maybe correct me with this, but I think it's The Devil Wears Prada. I saw the movie. It was amazing. And she's amazing. She's an icon. And she did. And Nikki's right. Bob hired a lot of women. And when in that time, it was all male dominated. In the Penthouse office, it was always female dominated. So that's something that I thought, wow, I had never seen that before when I arrived in late 79, and then in 80 is when I started doing
So most of the employees were female.
Excuse me?
So most of the employees at the Penthouse enterprise were women.
Yes.
Were females. Perfect.
Yes.
Wow, groundbreaking. Ahead of his time again. Mariana, more questions, please.
Yes, from Colombia, Eliana Peñalosa from Publimetro.
Hola, mi pregunta va para Mike. ¿Qué valores o lecciones importantes aprendiste de tu padre en relación con la creación y gestión de un negocio como Penthouse? Thank you.
Nick?
Well, I learned hard work is very important. Number one. and to appeal or make people happy and satisfied with what we're doing. You know, and there's one half of the world that loves what we did, and there's another half of the world that hates what we did, you know. But, hey, that's life, you know.
Yeah.
So I learned,
Can't make everyone happy.
right. You can't make everybody happy, but
Yeah.
I learned I learned that you know, artistic renditions of beautiful young women or any age woman is a testament to their beauty, and there's nothing wrong with that. And I think that's great. I think, to finish, that what has happened with Pornhub and these other porno sites has degraded women and
Correct.
and has taken away the beauty of what my father and myself have done over the last 50 years. You know, I started shooting women when I was 18. That's 41 years ago, you know. But to highlight the beauty of a female and to respect her and love her, which I have been guilty of, as if we're talking with Sheila, loving is okay, you know. But
now we have another
it has-
question
Yes, of course, please.
from Helmer Morales from El Gráfico, El Universal, Mexico. The question is the following, and it's a different question for each one of you. Nick, do you think is the end of the erotism era with artificial intelligence? Yes or no?
Okay, I'm sorry. With the artificial intelligence, is it the end of what era?
Of the erotic era.
No, I think it's opening a whole new door. In fact, that's why I want you to check out femdiva.com, FEMDIVA.com. It's all AI, mostly AI. I think it opens a whole new door and showcases the beauty of the female form. Again, nothing wrong with the male form. We can do that too. But right now we're focusing on the female form. So AI is imperative or very importante, muy importante to the exposition and expression of the female form and the beauty of the female. Period.
Okay. Now to Sheila, how do you feel that the glorious era of the pets and the playmates is going to be replaced by artificial intelligence?
Well, it makes me sad because there's nothing like someone that's a natural woman, right? And that was all Bob Guccione wanted, was to present women in a natural way, not in, you know, the fake boobs and, you know, all of the stuff that came along later on and after the 80s, you know, people getting breast jobs and doing stuff to their face. And so I think it's a sad day when something like that happens, because you can never take away from what his view and his idea and what he was an icon himself in that industry. There's never going to be another Bob Guccione. He was an artist, and he believed in natural women and smart women, not the girl next door that's been airbrushed, like Nikki said earlier about Playboy, but we were real. I mean, we lived real lives. We weren't in a bubble. You could fantasize about us, but we were something you know, somebody you would see in a market or something and go, oh my God, she's really attractive. wonder what she does for a living, or whatever. But I think it's a sad day because I was acting as well, and I got out of it after doing Don Juan DeMarco with Johnny Depp and Marlon Brando, and I was cut out of the movie. My son was really small, and I felt like this is it for me. I probably won't do the acting anymore. And that was like in the early 90s because I needed to raise my son. I was a single parent. So now seeing what's happening even in the acting industry, if you're not Tom Cruise or Meryl Streep or, Robert De Niro, it's very difficult of what they're doing to people's images and their careers and their life and their livelihood.
Correct.
I think it's a sad day
Correct.
that this is happening now.
So another question for you. As you know, Nick and Sheila, we are about to premiere in Latin America the documentary and the series of Secrets of Penthouse. Please tell me why people should watch this miniseries. What we are going to find out, what we're going to see there or discover in this special.
Nick, you want to take this?
They're going to see the breaking of the sexual revolution and how it happened with my father's brilliance in the late 60s, early 70s, and the entire 70s, actually, of how we changed civilization, culture, with an approach that was healthy. Back then it was healthy and beautiful. Then it turned a little sour, I think. So that I'm appreciative of, that my father was an artist, and he is an artist. And you can see in the background my dad's painting. Well, maybe you can't see it on this. There it is.
Yeah, we can see it now. We can see it now. Tilt the camera.
Artist.
We can see it now.
So my dad. Yes. So I mean, we went from beauty, I think, to porn, and that's very depressing to me, But listen, it is what it is. Sheila and I have some great memories. We grew up together in the mansion, and we saw a lot of things. There's a lot of things that we've learned, and I've learned about people, and wealth and money, and that's invaluable, because it shows you how culture and society has become. So from my father just taking simple pictures of beautiful young ladies nude, it's become this kind of machine, macchina in Italiano,
Mm-hmm.
It's just not, it's not rich anymore. It's not beautiful anymore, which is depressing, Anyway, so we'll get there. Any more questions?
What about you, Sheila? Anything you want to add?
Well, I think that when this is launched in Latin America, they will see 2 or 3 different things. They might see a dozen things that they can relate to, or that it might turn them off, or they might think, oh, he wasn't the greatest father, or he wasn't the greatest man, and he did bad things. And I'm here to say none of that is really true with my experience. I can't speak for Nikki, but I can tell you that they will see that even though all these crazy things happened in the mansion, and yes, sex, drugs, rock and roll, whatever, however you want to say it, at the end of the day, it was not like the Playboy Mansion. People weren't coming in and out of there and sleeping with the girls, and and it wasn't wild parties all the time. Bob was somewhat of a recluse. He was like kind of like a Howard Hughes character, if you may, because like the saying, he built an empire is what happened. And I think people will see that some of these girls who were pet of the year, which I'm one of them, and then there's Cheryl Rickson, and then you have Janine. And, you have these girls that went through this. I'm not saying we didn't go unscathed, but they're okay. They're mothers. They're married. They have children. They're living normal lives. And that's the beauty of it. You can do something in your life when you're younger and you could choose to say, yeah, oh, I wished I wouldn't have done that, but I have no regrets. And I hope people see that. They might see things and they might, perceive something the way they want to perceive it. But I think all in all, like Nikki said, money doesn't buy happiness. And, I've had a talk with Bob when he was alive and he was photographing me for Pet of the Year. And I think if he could do it all over again, he'd want to be a painter and an artist and live back in London and have a simple life, still have his children, but live a different life. And, if he had his youth, he would have done things differently. For me, I wouldn't have done things differently because if it wasn't for all of that, I wouldn't be the person I am now, which is a mom. My son is my whole world. I live a very, very simple life and I'm happy. I don't think that you can say that about some people that live that lifestyle.
Correct.
I'm not living in my past. I'm living in the future.
Now we go back. Mariana, more questions. We have 2 more questions before we go. Let's go.
Yes, José Vieira from Noticias da TV, UOL, Brazil.
Hi, everyone. My question is to Sheila. Penthouse was created in 1965. And how do you think that younger generations deal with nudity and sensuality? Is it still a taboo? What do you think about it?
Oh, I think it's not a taboo. I think if anything, it's become like it's just chaos, like how they look at it. And I'm not putting down anyone, but this younger generation is kind of looking at the Kardashians as, oh, I want to look like her. I want to just totally change my looks, and they're in their 20s. And that's their role models, and it's not a bad thing. It's just a completely different generation. We're living in a generation that is, cancel culture. And, you've got people that are hypersensitive about stuff, but never about nudity. It seems like everybody's a cam girl now and everybody's an influencer and they're making money off of it. And hey, I'm not against that. If it's what you want to do and it's making you happy and you're making money and you're making a living, I'm not going to say that's wrong, because people would say what I did was wrong back in the 80s. So, but I think we're living in a crazy society now where it's like, it's absolutely, there is no policing. There is no, like, I don't know. I mean, you have to say, where's your moral compass at some point? And I think the generation now is living very free, and good for them. Good for them. I think we've lost all communication, like, the one-on-one sitting at the dinner table, speaking to your family and eating. I still have that in my life. And I think Nikki does as well. So it's what keeps me grounded. But I feel sorry for the younger generation. I wish that they did live some of the times that we had, because ours was extremely educational, because we did learn from our mistakes. Whether you did drugs, drinking, nudity, people were free in the 60s. I mean, look at Woodstock. I mean, people were free. I don't know now if that's the case, but I think it's just, I think they've lost touch. I think the younger generation has lost touch with what we grew up in. And I think we've learned from our mistakes. I don't know what it's going to be like for my son, but I've raised him old school. And, he's old school. So it's hard to say, but, I don't know. I think that it's a different world we're living in now. It's hard to navigate what's going on, really.
Thank you for your answer, Sheila. Now we go with the last question, Mariana.
Yes, Asael Grande from Diario Imagen, México.
Hola, Mexico.
Hello, everybody. I have
one question. What about testimonials of Gina Jameson and Janine Lindell Mulder? Tell us about that testimonials, please.
Do you understood the question?
No.
No.
I want to know about testimonials of Gina Jameson and Janine Lindell Mulder for this series.
Yes, we can provide you with those testimonials, are part of the documentary. We can send it to you with no problem. As you know, it's a two-part miniseries of 2 hours premiering on January 21st and 2 hours premiering on Sunday, January 28th, and they are part of the special. But I will make sure that Alicia send you those testimonials. That will be easy for you, my friend.
Thank you very much. Gracias.
I want to say thank you to Sheila and to Nick for being so spontaneous and so open and so yourselves, sharing a piece of your life and a piece of your day with us. We really appreciate it because, as you know, not everybody was part of the 60s or the 70s, and some people who are watching us today, part of the social media, miss a lot of history. And I think we are lucky to be alive, and we are lucky sometimes to be able to tell the stories that we tell. Because at the end of the day, that's what we want to become, all of us, good storytellers. And I think those stories have a meaning and a reason to be told. And then hopefully, as you mentioned, Sheila, we can learn from our mistakes, or we can learn from the experiences of the other people. But at the end of the day, we all want to be storytellers and live this life looking for being happy, but live also an advice, a smile, or a lesson or a lecture to other people, so they can become a better version of themselves as well. Sheila, any final words from you?
No, I just thank you so much for having me. I think it's important that people see the documentary because it does tell a lot of different tales in life, and I think it's fascinating. And I was pleased with the outcome of it. I shed a few tears because it's emotional for me. And thank God I'm still in touch with people from my past, including Nikki. And I'm forever grateful for our relationship that we lived this and we lived it together because it was difficult. We were teenagers, and that alone makes me tear up. But thank you for having me. And I hope that your audience enjoys it in Latin America.
Thank you, Sheila. Nick, your final words?
Thank you. No, it's great to be here. Thanks for the interview. And again, one thing I did learn, Cesar, is that after growing up in this multi-million-dollar empire, I've learned one thing: how to spot a fake person.
Yeah.
That was my biggest lesson.
That's a great lesson. If you can actually do that, you will be able to lose less time with fake people and be happier with the right people around you all the time.
That's right. I appreciate honesty more than anything. Thanks so much. God bless you. And God bless your audience. Be well.
Thank you, Nick.
Check out femdiva.com.
Femdiva.com. And thank you so much, guys, and everybody in the press. Gracias a todos y cada uno de ustedes por acompañarnos en este evento de prensa. Disculpen cualquier error técnico que fue involuntario, pero lo importante es que tenemos historias de primera mano con Sheila Kennedy y con Nick Guccione para que entiendan un poco la verdadera historia de los secretos de Penthouse. Gracias a todos y nos vemos en la próxima con A&E.
Muchas gracias a todos. Muchas gracias.
Gracias.
Adiós. Adiós.
Penthouse es la revista más exitosa en la historia de la industria editorial.
Bob Guccione murió sin un centavo. ¿Qué diablo sucedió?
El oscuro príncipe del sexo.
Quería que hiciéramos orgías.
Solía medicar a las chicas con píldoras anticonceptivas.
Él tenía 50, nosotras éramos adolescentes. 18, 19 años.
Todo ese dinero desapareció.
Penthouse era el bebé de mi padre, nosotros no.